Napoleon Hill once said that if you cannot do great things, then you can try doing small things in a great way. You are welcome to another insightful episode of Impact Stories, celebrating the life well lived of our African academic mentors. And today's episode is an amazing one. I mean, we're actually going to the Hall of Fame to actually have a discussion, walking the talk and talking the walk of one pioneer who has served with the AAU over a long time. And right from 1967, when the AAU was established in Rabat, Morocco, and how it got to Ghana to run the secretariat here, this figure has been a pioneering figure throughout all these times. I'll let you know who he is. When we go for a short break, we'll come back. I'll let you know who he is, and I will zoom into his life and his contributions to the AAU thus far. Stay with us. We're right back. Welcome back, and it's Impact Stories, celebrating the life well lived of our academic mentors in Africa and beyond. And this person, or this guest for today, was the former head of finance for the Association of African Universities during its early times here in Ghana through its secretariat. And today we'll have a wealth of stories to learn from and how he took off with the AAU at its prime moment. Let's welcome Mr. Samson Danso Darko. Sir, you're welcome to Impact Stories.
Thank you very much.
It gives me so much pleasure, and it's refreshing to have met someone like you, who has served over decades with the AAU in those times that we were all not around. We just want to understand, how did life begin for Mr. Samson Danso Darko? Where did it begin, and what was the focus like at that time?
Yes, thank you very much. I was working with the Pepsi Cola Company Limited those days, that time, from 1960 to 1964. Then I decided to leave Pepsi Cola Company and to join any company or establishment that I want to. And it took me from that time until 1970. I saw an advert in the papers, which was a request from the Association of African Universities. They wanted a finance officer. That is, they call it fiscal officer.
Which year was that?
That was the year 1968.
Wow.
68. So I decided to apply. So I applied for it. And not a long time, they replied to my letter and asked me to proceed for an interview. So I went for the interview, where I met about 15 people who were also coming to contest for the same post. And fortunately, I was the one picked among the 15. They said, okay, they are going to give me an appointment as assistant fiscal officer. That is assistant accountant.
Yeah.
So I accepted the appointment and joined them on the 15th of December, 1970. That I took up my appointment at the AAU. I was there. That time we had a fiscal officer who was in the person of Mr. Ezwanyenze. He's a Ghanaian from Zima.
Okay.
And he had then been appointed fiscal officer already. And I was going to be his assistant. So I met him there, and we were both working as the fiscal officer. I was the assistant fiscal officer. And the AAU was actually, the business of AAU was actually taking care of students to study in African universities,
Okay.
not beyond Africa.
Okay.
And this was arranged. The government of the American government, that is Canadian American government, decided to fund the whole program
Okay.
for about 13 to 14 years.
Oh.
Then after that, it will pull out. Then by then, maybe the Americans would have been able to set up the ball rolling,
Yeah.
so the African governments can take
Take
over.
it up.
So after 13 years, they pull out, and the governments of Africa could not contribute to, to continue with the program. They call it the INTERAF. That's Inter-African Universities Scholarship Program.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Yeah.
So the Americans pull out, and the Ghana government, no, the African governments were not able to make their contribution to keep it going. Ghana government was giving the secretariat free to the Association of African Universities, and there was housing its 5 international staff.
At that time, we were 5.
At that time, 5 international staff in government bungalows or maybe houses provided for them.
Okay.
So that was the contribution of the Ghanaian government. But the other African governments could not contribute as much as they have to do. It was only Nigerian government who was able at least at every year give us 50,000 naira dollars to carry on with the program until they also decided later not to contribute again. So this went on for some time, that the program came to an end. But 1985 or so came to an end. There was no student in any of the African universities. And those who were in were seen off under the same sponsorship of the American government. So that ended the INTERAF program, the Inter-African Universities Scholarship Program. That ended it. And then it was left with the AAU main secretariat and then the documentation center of the AAU, which was then ongoing. I was in the secretariat, and we were being taken care of by the American government and budget. It went on until the time I left the AAU after 21 years.
21 years.
What I saw with the AAU is that the program was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was going to make a very special contribution, for African heads of states in future. That is, maybe I was fortunate to meet you in the University of Nairobi. So I know you.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you become the head of state of maybe Nairobi.
Yeah.
So I know you already.
The
so
synergy
we don't have
is strong.
Yes, in discussion problems of Africa. But unfortunately, the African governments could not contribute to contain it. So I don't know whether now it is going on. Maybe it's so. But also the documentation center also was there for, for dissemination of information between African universities. In African universities, each one would like to know what is obtainable, what is happening in a sister African university.
Yeah.
But documentation center also, I don't know whether it is off or still there. Maybe you can you can throw light on that. That also, I think, came to an end. But I left there before maybe that came to an end. AU, I feel, was a very, very effective, would have been a very effective program for the whole of the African states.
Yeah.
Where students will be trained in African universities to take care of the problems of the day of African countries.
Yeah.
You see, but unfortunately, I don't know why we are always broke. African countries are always broke. It's all because maybe we don't plan our work and work our plan well. So maybe that is it. But you would have been a very effective medium of trying to, train African scholars, not beyond African universities, to understand the system in the whole of Africa, to be familiar with the problems of the day. You know, I know. So whenever we meet, we don't have any problem in Africa.
Yes. Yes.
But unfortunately, when the white left, the African was not able to contribute to sustain it. So this have been, I don't know whether it's going on. I don't know what happened after my 21 years with the AU.
We'll talk more into the 21 years and what were some of the hurdles that you had to cross. But let's go back to how it all began for Mr. Samson Danso Darko. Where were you brought up, and what were some of the learnings you picked up right from your primary, secondary to tertiary level?
I started school at Presbyterian Church, a Presbyterian school at some area called Kofi Pare. That's my my daddy's village.
Great.
Up to standard 5.
Okay.
I left Kofi Pare for Asamankese, where my father's brother was. It was the produce buying agent. So I went there. I wanted to stay with him, and then I left after standard 5. I came down to Ebri, my hometown, to continue. And after standard 7, I left for the Ghana National College.
Okay.
Which is a secondary school. I went there for 3 years. And then a friend of my cousin who came in to say that, oh, no, I should not waste all the time at the secondary school. I should come out and go and do business.
Okay.
I said, okay. So he came in and supported me to go and do accounting.
Okay.
And that is the field in which I'm working now. So I went to, when I left the secondary school, I went to the school called Business Training College, Cape Coast.
Okay.
That is purely for commercial subjects.
Yeah.
Accounting, office training, secretarial duties, and so on. So I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
And I excelled. In fact, before coming out, I have my advanced stage certificate in bookkeeping.
Great.
Accounts.
Great.
From Royal Society of Arts.
Great.
Then after that, I have to continue. So I continue up to that. So this is actually what I did. And then learning accounts have been keeping me up to now, because I can leave anywhere I'm working to go and work at any place. And I have a straight job to do. So accounting is very good. I would advise anybody to learn it. So I did that. And up to the time that I could not study again.
I see.
And then working to get money to care for myself and my children, my family. So that is about, from the elementary school, I went to a secondary school, Ghana National Secondary College. Sure. So then Ghana National College by then. I went there for 3 years. And then a friend of my uncle or something, my uncle's friend said, no, I should not waste my time in secondary school.
Should do business.
I have to go and do business. So I have to go and learn accounts.
Working you said you work with the Pepsi?
Yes.
And then, so right from that period, now you got the Pepsi job and then?
Yeah, from when I left the school, when I came out of the commercial school, I immediately got a job at the Wesley Grammar School. It's at Odoko.
Okay,
yes, the Wesley Grammar School. The headmaster was then one Mr. Osanyado. He's from Equipim.
Mm.
He was there, and then Osanadu left in about 2 or 3 months' time. I was there,
Mm.
and then came in Mr. DeGraff Johnson.
Mm.
He also took up the position of the headmaster until I left. I left that place. Yes.
Yeah.
And then when I left Western Grammar School, I wanted to do business, some small business on my own,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe continue to study
Yeah.
and do more in accounts.
Yeah.
But I got another job again
Mm-hmm.
with the Pepsi Cola company.
Okay.
I worked there for about 6 years.
As an accountant?
Yes.
Okay.
No, as the assistant accountant.
Okay.
The accountant then was Mr. Quay. Well, Mr. Quay was the accountant at the Pepsi Cola company.
Mm.
And I was engaged. I was employed as assistant accountant. And it was good. And I worked there for about 6 years.
Mm.
And I left Pepsi.
Mm.
I came home
Okay.
and stayed in the house at least for about 1 year.
1 year.
Yes. After that, on 15th of December,
Mm-hmm.
1967, I had an appointment with AAU.
Okay. And that was when the AAU agenda
That's
began.
when AAU started.
Great.
Yes.
How would you describe the Samson Danso Darko character? What describes you?
Well, I am somebody who is, I don't know, affable.
Mm.
I am not somebody who becomes quickly annoyed. No.
Mm.
But I always humble myself.
Mm.
So I could work with anybody,
Mm.
especially the accountant, the fiscal officer for AAU.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him, he left me.
Mm.
And then a new accountant came called Mr. Maxwell Kwao.
Okay.
Kwao also spent about 3 years and he left. Then a new accountant also came in from, a new secretary general came in by then from the Congo Brazzaville called Professor Levi Makani. Makani, yes. He was there. And we got a new accountant. Professor Makani went
Another
away.
SG came.
Yeah, another SG came.
You literally worked with, I would say, 2 SGs?
Yes. No, I worked with, first was Dr. Chek Tidiane C. He was the first Secretary General.
Okay, then you see.
Dr. Chek Tidiane C. CTC.
Okay.
And then the second Secretary General was Mr. Yusuf Kilonde Lule. YK Lule. He was the second Secretary General. And then when he went away, the third Secretary General who came was Professor Levi Makani from the Congo Brazzaville.
Yeah.
Okay. He also left. I was still there. And the fourth Secretary General came, who was in the person of Professor Donald Ekon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen portraits of all these SGs, and I'm asking myself who worked with them, and I now know someone who did. Tell us the experience having different people from different backgrounds working with you in AAU. How has it been? How has the experience been like with them?
I'm a sort of person who can work with anybody. Some of the Secretary Generals were not good, but I could work with anybody at all. For instance, the first Secretary General, Dr. Chek Tidiane C, a Senegalese. He was good. He was nice, and he did his best until after 2 years, he left.
Can you tell, every SG had a focal area they were looking at. If you could highlight, okay, this SG was looking at this sector, or was looking at this area.
No. All the SGs who came in, the program of the AAU is there. You run a secretariat, you run a documentation center. These are the two
Okay.
which you run. So when your focus is on that. Now with the documentation center, it is there for us, to be able to disseminate information obtainable in all African universities, from one university to the other, and Africa in general. That is the work of the documentation center.
So their goals was to just come and then coordinate the activities.
Dissemination of information from one university to the other, and so on and so forth.
Interesting.
That is what the documentation center did. And then the AU Secretariat was in charge of the scholarship program called the Interaf.
There was a book published by Professor Ajayi and some other authors,
Yes.
The Higher Education Experience in West Africa. This book actually narrates the rise of the AAU and then the unfortunate fall of the AAU at a point in time. You mentioned a couple of names who are in that book and what they had said. What would you say was contributed to that sort of fall in terms of vision, strength, and focus of the AAU at that time?
Yeah, if there were to have been a fall, each Secretary General has 3 years to stay in the AAU here. That is the appointment time. And each one comes his own vision, his own ideas.
Yeah.
Some of them are very effective, others are not. You see, and AAU per se has, the only program they have is the DC Documentation Center, which is responsible for the dissemination of information, from in African universities, from one university to the other.
Yeah.
And then also the scholarship program, and then the secretariat. That is all. The scholarship program, I think training African universities, African students.
The Interaf, the U.S. government. There were other. I think the Interaf went for a while. The Ford Foundation.
It went for a while. Ford Foundation was contributing, but just a little.
Okay.
Up to a time, but the main contributor was the American government, the USAID. They, in fact, they were handling the whole program for about 13 years or so.
Okay.
And as I told you, expected African governments to take over from there. But you know what is happening in Africa. We didn't do that. So it has to die. But it would have been a very effective way of training students in African universities.
Yeah, there are also issues about, the AAU's sustainable means of funding was with subscription at that time.
Yes.
How was subscription strength at that time?
Yeah, well, actually, at the end of each year, luckily we were able to receive about 80% of the contribution. The contribution is a subscription by African universities.
Yeah.
Any African university which is a member of the AAU. And that is, you become a member when your student population is above 500 or 600. So a lot of the African universities were members, and they contribute $3,000 every year as a subscription. And this is the main income of the AAU, on which their budgets, salaries, whatever are paid. So if any African government fails to pay, any university fails to pay its subscription, it means the AAU is down.
Was there a challenge for you at that time?
No, there was no challenge. They pay. But some of them getting to the end of the year. We need the money to do work in the AAU, but they won't pay until about, the academic year starts from June to July. Maybe by May or March before somebody send this money. Maybe it will be too late for us, but by all means we have to continue. So what the AAU has to do was to try as much as possible to get some sort of investment that will give them income every year to support the budget. To deposit about $112,000
Okay.
in a fixed deposit account in London.
Okay.
And then also we had 2 accounts in the US with Chase Manhattan Bank. Number 1 account and number 2 account. Number 2 account has monies which we don't use roughly.
Okay.
Number 1 account is the regular account that we withdraw and pay. We have CFA account in Togo. In Ghana, we had the CD local account and the CD foreign account. And then in London, we have the sterling account, the sterling bank account. And then in US, we have Chase Manhattan Bank number 1, number 2 account. Number 2 account is supposed to be something like a deposit account. We don't normally operate that unless we are running sort of money before we draw some money.
We'll have to go for a short break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about his 12 years in the AAU, some of the achievements he had made, the challenges he experienced, and the whole way and the ways that he found to make a way through the 12 years. Stay with us. We're right back on Impact Stories. Welcome back on Impact Stories, where we celebrate the life well lived by our academic mentors within the African continent. And today, our guest is no other person than Mr. Samson Danso Darko, who was a former head of finance for the AAU and a pioneering figure for the AAU, as to say. And sir, during your time and your experience with the Secretary Generals who came to work with you, I know that there were moments you had to learn something from them. So, what were the lessons that you gleaned?
Yes, this is making me to mention the names of all the Secretary Generals who came and what they did.
Yes.
The first Secretary General who came to the AAU was Dr. Cheikh Tidiane. So the first Secretary General appointed.
That's a big achievement for you to serve with the very first.
Yes, first Secretary General. And we were at the office was then at the Asylum Down. That's one of the confiscated houses of the government, which was given to the AAU as office. So that is where we were, Asylum Down, around, or maybe that's where we were first. And at Asylum Down, the Secretary General who was then the Dr. Cheikh Tidiane, or the first Secretary General.
Okay.
Yes. So we're there. The Ghana government again gave us an office at the State House, Justice Central.
Okay.
So we moved in. That is in 1968.
Okay.
From the State House, they went to Joro.
Then
From Joro, now they are in their office. But at the time they went to Joro, I had left.
You had left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Econ has terminated us.
We'll get to know more about that bizarre act.
So from the State House, they went to that house and then back to wherever they are now. When I was there was when we had the first office. When we moved from the State House, the first office at Asylum Down. That was the time I was with the AAU. From there, I left.
Okay.
After 21 years of service with the AAU.
What did you learn from the very first?
Yes, the good lessons that I had from the AAU was, Secretary Generals are supposed to be previous vice chancellors of the university before.
Yes.
And because of that, all the Secretary Generals who came in were up to date.
Mm.
And people of this nature, seasoned people like that, working with them, studying them, you learn a lot. Yeah. Everybody in his own way of living. Yeah. But as the assistant fiscal officer or as the accountant by then, I mean, you always deal with the secretary generals, whether he's good or bad, or tall or short. As for the accountant or the fiscal officer, the way the Americans call them, you are always with the secretary general.
Yeah.
He gives you instructions, do this for me and that. We prepare the budget at the end of every year. By, say, June, the budget for next year is ready. Because the year ends, start from July to August.
Great.
So the budget is already, and that is, after that, it goes to the board for study and approval. And after that, it is put into operation. So that is what we do. And most of these budgets were prepared by me, the finance department.
Great.
Yeah. With a small direction from the surgeon, or maybe this time I would like to do about 10 trips instead of 8, instead of 6 or 5. Then he will bring in all those places we want to go. Yeah, and we'll reflect them in the budget. So that is what's actually happened. After the budgets have been approved by the board, we run it for the year.
Great.
And then also, as I told you, that our main income is the subscription from the universities. Sometimes we had about, I think, 89 members. 89 members.
At that time?
Yes, at that time. 89 or 89.
Today we are close to 400 and something.
Okay, we had 89 by then. So if all of them pay their $3,000, we get that money. And then also we get a small amount from our fixed deposit account in London. It was a pound sterling account and an investment account. And at the end, I remember very well, at the end of every year, when we were preparing the budget, at least we are able to get about $15,000 or something from that account as interest on the account for the year. And that was ready money for us. After that, we get it full. And then also the subscriptions, sometime by the end of the year, we have not been able to collect 3,000 from all the 89
members. And so if you take Professor Sheikh Day,
Tidiane C.
The next person was Levi Mackay.
Levi Mackay.
How was working with him like?
Yeah, Levi Mackay is a French-speaking African. And even though he speaks English, but not too fluent, he was good. He was good. The Surgeon Generals, all of them, in fact, they were good.
But riding through the very last end, your last but 1 and 2 SGs, walking through that story on your departure from the AAU, tell us about that part of your life.
Yes, as I told you, the first Surgeon General was Dr. Cheikh Tidiane C. He was good. You like to see somebody who works hard. If you work hard, he likes you. And he found me to be one of them.
Great.
So every time, any advice about finance, he will come to me. Even though we had the finance officer, I was the assistant. Anything at all, Dr. C will come to me and ask my mind before he goes on. And so it's okay. And with the other staff also, he's fine with all of them.
You were still 5 at that time?
Yes.
Or there was a change when you were there?
No, there was no change.
Still 5 members? Those 5 officers?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Including the SG?
SG, yeah.
Interesting.
So, and then when Dr. C went away, after I think about 3 years or 2 years, after 3 years, Dr. C went away, then came in Mr. Luli, Mr. Yusuf Kilonde Luli from Uganda. He was the the second Secretary General.
Mm.
Then, when he left, Professor Levi Makani came in from Congo. He was also good. He cannot speak English fluently, but he speaks much more.
Yeah.
French is good for him.
Mm.
So he was there. He was also good. But you see, because our budget is supported by a subscription. Apart from that, we don't get, apart from few subventions from some few African countries. But then sometimes some of them pay after the end of the year. Sometimes also they pay from the beginning of the year, especially in Nigeria. As for them, they paid in good time.
Great.
So it supported our budget. But the African countries were not paying.
Yeah.
Sometimes they won't pay at all in the year. Maybe the following year that they will pay.
Makani was a third.
No, Dr. C. Dule and Professor Makani.
Whether do you serve with only these three?
No, there's another one.
Okay.
That is Professor Ekon.
Okay. Tell us about you and Ekon and this time.
Ekon was due to, as far as we work efficiently, he likes you. But sometimes also, if he doesn't understand something, you think about it a different way. But when you go to collect him, he apologizes and then he takes it. Because I remember when I prepared a budget for the year, and I was going to see him with the draft. You see, you're going through the figure. We have the income, and then followed by the expenditure. Now, when he was reading the income, and then he came to the expenditure, he did not understand it. Oh, what is this? He felt all of them is income. But he forgot to read the heading. This is the income and this is the expenditure. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Then we go on. But anytime I prepare the budget or anytime I have something to do for the Secretary General, I never had any quarrel with him. Not even any of the Secretary Generals. Because I will do my work all right. My boss is there. He will also do it. So we were okay by then. But all of them were, well, there's a line for them to follow.
Yeah.
When you're Secretary General, you're supposed to do this and that and that and that. And most of them is communication.
Great.
Letter writing here and there, so forth.
Right.
So we cannot say that, it was this time that he was able to put up this bridge, he was able to put up this house. No. As for it's administration. Yes, it's administration.
When you were there, what were you doing as a hobby? What is the hobby and the leisure for Samson Danso Darko?
Yeah. Actually, me, what I do is I always like to work hard. So when I was in the AAU, even though comparing our salaries to that of the university, that obtainable in the University of Ghana, we were highest. Our salaries were high.
The highest.
Because of the fact that our appointment is on contract basis.
Yeah.
This year is 3 years.
Yeah.
Next year, if it is renewed for another 3 years, or maybe if they feel that the American government is going to withdraw from it, they say, okay, we have 2 years more for you. That's it. But that for me, the year, 3 years was all right for me until the end of my time I left. But some also left earlier, and some also left at the time at the end of the appointments. So that is what actually was happening. But as for me, I left there at the end of the contract. After 21 years, I thought maybe I have to go and.
Some people would like to play. Some love to read. Some like to write. What did you love to do at that time?
Well,
yourself? What do you like to do?
Myself, what I like to do is, one, I should finish all the heavy load of work on me. Because we had about 13, 14 agencies that we had to submit every month, every year. Every month statement of account to them. Every 3 months. So I can't sit down and play. So I have these reports to come out. And then after that, we have the AAU own programs that we do. And then we have the AAU, which is having the secretariat, and then documentation center, which is another department in the AAU. All these accounts are done by me.
Oh.
Yes. So there was no question of playing.
So one very important question is, when you join the AAU, you seem to spend or give it all your passion to keeping records, to preparing budgets, and that was very pious of you. And another demanding aspect was family. And today we have this balance between work and family. How were you able to put life together in these two fronts, putting work on that top level and then keeping the family together at this point? How did you do it?
Yeah, I'm somebody who, if I say I want to do something, I do it and do it well.
Great.
That is it. I know I have a wife, I have children. So all that I could do to maintain them, I did. I don't mind forgoing so many things because of my wife or my children. And because of that, I don't think they have any question to ask me. Somebody will say that they have a question to ask my daddy, but I don't think they have a question to ask me, because if I haven't taken care of my children, I will not see to what I need, whether clothing or whatever. So I was, but then at the same time also, when working with the AAU, you know, as a man of accounts, I said, but it's not the AAU alone that I can do the account for. Maybe other people will need people to do the account for them. So I went around, and at the time I had about 15 companies that I was doing the account for them.
Right.
I call on them on Saturday and some of them Sunday. I go and collect. I show them what to do. You write the pieces for me, and I'll put them together.
Great. Great.
And then at the end of the year, I prepare your account for you.
That's amazing.
And get some extra income.
That's amazing.
For myself.
That's amazing right there. I like
so
that.
that is what made me very powerful in taking care of my children, especially when the children grew from 2, 3, and then 4.
So how many are there? 4 now?
4 now.
Great. That's amazing. And if we're to ask every one of your children to say what they love about you, what would you think each of them will say?
I don't know what they'll say, but what I know sometimes they'll say is Daddy was always serious about our care. Yes. I don't, and because of, I never had a car. I didn't want to have a car because my children were, I then not come to secondary school going age.
Okay.
So I didn't want to take a car until the first one went to a secondary school at Fansman Girls. And I said, no, I will have to get a car. And that was the car. I bought the car the car came in on 8th of August.
Okay.
8th of August 1968. I got my car. That's 504. Brand new Peugeot car.
Oh.
And all my children were in school, secondary. They were especially Mama, and was in secondary school. And then the first one, Mama was in Fansman Girls.
Great.
And the boy, another girl also was there, about to go to the secondary school.
They say you never joked with records.
Yes.
You were a man of records.
Yeah, what I did was, all my children. Now, the other day when they came to me, I showed them their past performances. Everybody had a file with them. Now, from kindergarten right down to wherever you were, all the reports on it. And they saw it and they were curious about it. Or they want to see.
Why were you doing that? Why were you keen in keeping all these?
Yeah, because if I want to find out the progress of my daughter, I might get something on file to see. Oh, last year he did this year he's doing that, this year, so that I'll be able to know what to tell him or her. So I then also, as a man of accounts, I always like to keep accounts, because if you have the document, that is the evidence.
Yeah.
That you did it or you never did it. I talk for talking and you don't produce any document. It's nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I keep my records. I have so many things I keep. I don't play with it. So many important information that one would need in future and after. You may not know that I keep them. I keep them.
Is there any favorite song that the great Samson Danso Darko likes to listen to and reflect?
EK songs,
Okay.
Kakeku and what
Kakeku.
all that. And then those days, even before going to school on Fridays at 1 o'clock or 1:30, we stay at home to listen to the radio, playing the music of Kakeku and others before we go to school, and it was very interesting. I don't have a special music that I like any music that is worth listening.
Great.
Great.
How about that? The very favorite food that when you serve, in fact, on your birthday, that food must be on the table.
Yeah, we were trained or we were fed with our local food. The first one of them is fufu. And I like
original.
Yes, I like fufu, the salt one, and then nkatu soup.
Great.
Plus either fish or meat.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what I like first. I like fufu, soft one, and then groundnut soup. I like it well. If you give it to me, I'll eat it.
Wonderful. You look very healthy and very fresh.
Yeah.
One will say, what has been your secret? Is it that you exercise, you do more fruits, or you have a philosophy that keeps you alive or keeps you strong each and every moment? What is the secret?
You see, always I give thanks to God. First of all, to give me children who are not sick. If you have a sick child, you become saddled.
Yeah.
There are so many things we can do. So I always pray to God, give me the children who are strong. Now I'll care for them as you want me to do.
Yeah.
And truly, He gave me all my children, the 4 of them. Nobody was a sickler when I was a child.
Yeah.
That is what I want. And then also, if you get that, you see, there are certain things which if happens in your lifetime, it brings you down from whatever you want to attain. And these are some of them. You got a child, a lovely child who is sick. There's nothing you can do about it. Your concentration is there. Sometimes even you spend a lot of time to take care of him or her, but you will not survive. You waste your time and all that. But me, Father gave me children who are strong. See, and the children also who listen to me and their mother. You see. So that is all that, and I'm happy with it. That I was able also to educate them the very small way that I did.
Yeah.
I think they have also continued, and it is going to help them as well. What I like is that is what I like. I don't want somebody who will disturb me, send me backwards.
Yeah.
I move forward, and I know I have 4 children, and they are here. It is my responsibility to care for them.
Yeah.
And so that I would dive into anywhere to find money, not to steal anyway, but to make sure I get money to go and pay my children's fees and so on and so forth. I don't have anything. I don't care. I'll pay my children's fees.
You have done very well.
That's what I did.
And you made your mark very well.
Yes, actually.
Would you want to share any quote that you have lived by? A Bible quotation, a quotation from anybody that each and every day you recall to strengthen yourself and keep you focused?
You see, the only thing that I always think about is this world. It is up to you to do only the right thing. Never think about any wrong thing. If somebody advises you to go and do a wrong thing, don't do it. Do the right thing and ask him to guide you through. That is all.
They are proud of you.
Yes.
I mean, all your 4 kids are proud of you for, one, being a very solid record keeper. And you actually surprised them by showing them way back to your kindergarten records that show that you've been tracking them and keep you very, very, very in tune with their progress. And they love you for that, being there for them and also supporting them through their lives. Today, we want to honor you as an exceptional figure and being a pioneering figure for the AAU and also standing the test of time and contributing your best to an AAU that lives today. If anything happened from your time, it would have been there, but you kept it, and that's why we're here today. So we want to give you this moment to say thank you very much for being a solid figure for the AAU right from its inception here in Ghana, and staying with the AAU for 21 years and making your mark, solid mark, that anybody who comes to AAU has a force to know that there was once a Mr. Samson Danso Darko who made his mark in the finance area, and today you live to tell the story. I'm so glad to be here. It's an honor. I wasn't even there.
Thank you.
I wasn't even there at all, but I've come to hear about you, and I'm here today sitting with you and to shake your hand and say thank you very much for making a great mark for the AAU.
Thank you.
And your kids are also proud of you as well.
Thank you very much.
This is where we wrap it up. But I want to give you just a minute to share a message. There's a whole generation today. We have the Gen Zs, the millennials who are just rubbing in together, and a whole lot more who had no idea or not even a glimpse of the experience you've been through in the 60s. But you've seen a whole generation from that time to today. What is your advice to up and coming professionals in the field of finance and in other areas that you can share that we could also be very pious like you did?
You see, what everybody should know and do is to be honest to ourselves. To be honest to ourselves. These days, people jump into conclusion and they do a lot of things that maybe put them behind bars and so on. Do as your mind tells you. Of course, good, but not bad. Take your time to fight your problems. Don't rush. If you are my brother or if you are my friend, and today you have had it from the same work that I'm doing and you are doing, and people say, oh, look at your friend has got it, but you haven't got it. I said, his name is this, my name is this.
Sure.
He is this, I am this.
Sure.
So everybody and his own gift. What God is going to give you. Sometimes yours will come in the morning. Somebody's will come in the evening. So don't look at anybody. My determination is to make good for my children, even though I don't have it. Let me try as much as possible to put them somewhere that they can also crawl to continue. But if you leave him or her without, training him or her, then it means you made the wrong thing. And what I always want to do is to do the right thing. That's all. If I know I've done the right thing, I come out with gold chest.
Sure.
It's not. I feel now what for? Why? Because of your deeds. That must not be done by any person, especially the Christians.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. So today, in honoring the great man, Mr. Samson Danso Darko, we also wanted to hear from his children and see how they feel about him, some of the fond memories they have about him that we all need to know, okay, because we are living that experience that he had felt during the AU and his time. So stay with us. Let's go hear what they got to say.
My name is Dorothy Sian Asamoah. My daddy calls me Mami Asamoah Bia, because he always reminds me he named me after his late mother. I am a clinical professor in the University of Buffalo School of Management. One of the fondest memories I have of my dad is when I was a younger person. Every once in a while, when he's going to work at Lome, he would take me with him. And then after the work is done, we would go shopping. But I remember he bought me this pair of shoes. It had a zebra leather. It was wine. And I loved it. I wore it for many years. And I remember in my neighborhood, my friends will laugh at me when I wear my wine shoes because they tell me I like people to know I went to Lome. The other example I can remember is his innate ability to keep records. About a year or two ago, one of my aunts from my maternal side needed an obituary of my late grandmother from my maternal side. And she knew the person in this world who will have a record would be my dad. Of course, lo and behold, she went to my dad, and my dad was able to provide that.
My fondest memories of my dad is that he's such a lovely man to hang out with. Whenever he went out to town and I had the pleasure of going with him, he would take me to all these nice spots to get me fufu to eat. I remember this particular spot called Don't Mind Your Wife Chop Bar. It's in Tesano. I don't think they're there anymore. But in those days when he took me there, I used to enjoy the chop bar setting, sitting on the stool with the little, tables, taking fufu from the same bowl with him. It was such an amazing experience. The other thing is that for us as his children, he always kept with the responsibility of keeping us in school, at whatever means possible. So much so that by the time we got to school, our school fees were fully paid already. I've been privileged to have him as a dad. He is very soft-spoken, but make no mistake, that doesn't mean he doesn't talk at all. He's definitely not a man of few words. He speaks a lot. If you catch him and sit him down at the right time, he will tell you a lot of things, including things from way back in the 70s, in the 60s. He'll give you chronological and records that you require of him. I love him as a dad. I've always been fond of him, and I still am. And I'm grateful to God that he's still with us, even at this age. And he's strong, and he has all his faculties intact. We are grateful to God.
To our sister and brother, Cynthia and Gilbert, we wish you were here, but we hope we represented you well. But on behalf of all four of us and the many other children that he has, the list is so long we can't even name them.
All of them.
Thank you, Daddy, for being the best dad we could have asked for. With all the ways that we bother you, just know that you will always have a place in our hearts.
Yeah.
So thank you, AAU, for making this happen. We appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
We really appreciate it. This is where we draw the curtains and Impact Stories. We have had a great time with Mr. Samson Danso Darko, who was the former head of finance for the AAU. Walking him through his times, his achievements, and impact was awesome. And the lesson that we've all learned together is that you have to be honest in your life path and wait for your time to come. And there's a whole lot that he has said that actually is in link with what Napoleon Hill said, that you see, you cannot do great things, but you can do great things in small ways. Wherever you are, find a way and polish yourself up and be the best of yourself. And he has said that well this very day. So I believe you also been inspired. These Impact Stories celebrated the lives well lived by our mentors across the continent. And today was for Mr. Samuel Danso Darko. And I believe that you will keep on following. Share your insights. If you know him or if you heard about him, share your insight in the comment section and let's get to know how you feel about this great man. Until we come here next time, have a nice day. My name is Ajiman Darko. Be safe and bye.